Welcome, everyone, to the Strategic Living Podcast. This is episode number 367, and I'm delighted to have you back with us today. Well, this is a new format for us, and we're going to be talking about that more in just a moment. But in the meantime, I just want to say that this is our first episode back from a bit of a summer break. And while we've been publishing our Monday Mastery videos and releasing those as podcasts for the last several months, I'm thrilled to be back in the studio. I'm thrilled to be back with you, coming to you with fresh content that builds you up and helps you to design the life you want to live and live that life strategically. Before we get started today, there's a couple of changes that I want you to be aware of. You're probably already noticing some of those right now. One, our podcasts are going to be released on Wednesdays from now on. In the past, it's always been a Thursday release for our full-length podcast and a Monday release for our Monday Mastery videos. So what we're doing is we're going to be offering the podcast now in both video and audio. One podcast, one release per week in video and in audio formats. Those both released on Wednesdays. The videos, of course, can be found on YouTube and on our website. The audios are going to be right where they've always been on iTunes, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio. And of course, if you choose, you can listen to the audio podcast on our website as well. So just keep that in mind from now on. Podcasts are released on Wednesdays in both video and audio format. You'll find those on our website and in all the usual places. In a couple of weeks, I'm going to be sharing with you some big details, maybe even a couple of big announcements in reference to where we're going with our podcast, where we're going with our brand, where we're going with Strategic Influencers, our company. We're going to make some significant shifts in our strategy and in our formats because I've been sensing and feeling for quite a while that I want to make a bit of a pivot toward a teaching, a training, a mentoring model, even as it relates to this program. Today, however, I want to just speak to you from my heart. It's been a while since we've talked, and I want to just kind of update you on a few things, share some things with you that have been happening in our journey, because I want to be transparent and open with you as we explore more and more of what God has for us in the future. So let's just do that right now. Hey, it's been an exceptional summer season for the Holmes family, and I hope it has been for you and yours as well. It's been hot here in Texas. It's been a blistering heat. My wife and I got to get away for a week out of the heat. We went to the high mountains of Colorado during July 4th week, and the trip was way too short because just about the time I got cooled off, I had to come back and be here in 100 degree plus temperatures. But I'm glad to be home, glad to be with you. If you've followed our podcast for any length of time, you are probably already aware of my story, especially the last 6 to 7 years, where in 2012, I was, and I use quotation marks here, invited by my designer, by my creator, by God, to go on a journey. And quite honestly, I wasn't expecting that invitation. I wasn't really anticipating or looking for an invitation. And things were moving along fine. I was very engaged in what I thought to be my life's purpose. I was very engaged in a career path that I felt like was really my lot in life. But there was something on the inside of me that was a little bit discontent, a little bit unsettled, and I felt like there was something more, but I really didn't know how to wrap my hands or my heart around that. And on a particular getaway, I just had a pretty incredible encounter with my dad. And he invited me, hey, I want to take you some places you haven't been. I want to engage you with some communities and some areas of influence that you've never really considered before. I want to introduce you to some people that you had not, to this point, considered yourself being qualified or designed really to hang out with. And I said, heck yeah, let's go, let's do it. And that was the beginning of a very powerful, powerful journey. Over these last 6 years, I can't begin to share with you every moment, every marker, every detail, everything that's happened along the way, the lessons that I've learned, the revelation that I've had concerning my own identity, my own value, my own worth. It would be hard for me to describe to you in words the depths that I have foraged and looked for answers, because in many ways I've questioned everything. Some have said to me that, well, Brian, you're in your early 50s, so that's just normal. You're in your midlife crisis. Well, I don't consider this a crisis at all. I consider it an opportunity to evaluate, here's my life to this point, and let's ask some honest questions. Let's evaluate the status of our life, the relationships that we have, the things that we're doing. Do they really matter? Am I aligned with what it is God created me to do, and am I doing that effectively? Or are there other opportunities or outlets or relationships that I need to be engaging with that would make my life more meaningful in these years coming forward? So as we've been walking this out, it's been the gradual transition away from certain roles that I played. It required me to even step away from the career path that I thought for sure my life was going to be for, well, forever. And in all of that, it's just been an interesting dynamic, emotionally, spiritually, and so on. I was drawn into the business sector. Now, I had operated businesses and run businesses for many years on the side as kind of a secondary thing, but I was drawn deeper into ministry in the marketplace. What does it look like to actually engage my life's purpose, the gifts that I have, the things that I am really strong in, my unique abilities, but do those in the business arenas? And that's been happening over this course of time. Over the last several years, that's looked like me engaged in consulting and executive coaching and coaching entrepreneurs and young business owners and millennials and just all of those types of mentoring people into leadership, into their particular area of influence. My passion deep down is to see lives transformed. Now that sounds like a really broad declaration, but I want to see people healed. I do want to see people reconcile with their past so that the things that have caused them pain or caused brokenness in certain areas of their heart in the past don't haunt them or prohibit them from stepping into their preferred future. I want to see people healed. I want to see people come alive, be awakened to the possibilities that exist because of their uniqueness, because of their created design. I want to see people developed as leaders, as business owners. I want to see people to engage their dreams, but then to see their dreams become a reality. These are the things that drive me. And frankly, even in my past role as pastor of a local church in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, that was always my motivating factor. That was what was driving me because that's who I am. So all of that's been dialed in. And I feel like over the last several years, I've been very effective in those things. It's been a great season. It's been a learning season. It's been a season of growth. It's been a season of rest and peace, even though it's been a season of hard work. By the way, you can have both. You can be working really hard and still have rest and peace in your heart and in your mind. And that's the goal, really, if you want to ask me. Even though I've been flowing in this unique ability, I knew in my heart of hearts that I had not yet landed on the thing. Let me explain. I grew up in my early adult years recognizing that I was called to what I would like to call minister. And by minister, in my mind, my grid, my reference point was pulpit ministry, evangelists, pastors, teachers, missionary, whatever that looks like. And so because of the way I was brought up and taught, the only reference point that I had in reference to ministry was, well, you go into full-time ministry and you do certain roles or functions within the church entity, so to speak. And so that path unfolded. It was very much a part of my journey, and it was a God part of my journey. And we went through various assistant positions, youth pastor positions, worship leader, and then assistant pastor, and then eventually senior pastor of a local church. And throughout all of those years, we were doing what we were created to do in the context of vocational ministry. And when God invited me to explore other possibilities, specifically this business sector, this business arena, doing ministry in the marketplace, it necessitated a shift for me. And because of that, eventually I was unplugging from my identity as it related to the role I was playing, big deal. That's been the greatest struggle in the last 6 years for me is disconnecting from the thing that I thought was my identity, and then searching for and being open to what is my next it? What is the thing I'm going to spend my life doing? Now, in the early years of this transition, my mind was geared toward finding another title or role or job description. I want you to get that. And in those early years, it was about, okay, I've got to have a title, I've got to have a position, I've got to be working for this company or doing this thing, and that's my new identity. What I've come to recognize, my friends, is that my identity has nothing to do with the role I play, the title that I hold, the position that I hold. It has to do with the very essence of who you are on the inside, the gifts you have, the callings, the things that you're uniquely wired to accomplish and to do to impact the people around you, or, and maybe in your case, the industries or the people groups or the countries or whatever it is. And so identity is not associated with role or title. Identity is really about the condition of your heart and your awareness of who you are and why you're here. So I've been walking all of this out. I knew that God was leading me to more discovery as it related to the role and the function, however. I've been doing great work. I've been very pleased and satisfied with the work that I've been doing, but I've been aware that there was something more. Let me talk about my family for a second, because I told you I'm going to be transparent, open with you. We've all been in this massive season of transition. It's been really quite remarkable. My wife, for the last year or so, has been sensing that she wanted to get back into the classroom and teaching school. She's a certified teacher. Early in our marriage, she taught school, first grade, and she loved it. She was phenomenal at it and ministered so deeply to her children in her classroom and also the parents of her kids. And then as we went into full-time pastoring, she came alongside of me and worked for the church that we were pastoring at the time. So she left that. Now our kids are grown, they're adults, and she's been hankering, that's a good Texas word for you, to get back into that classroom, to get back into those kids' hearts and lives and make a difference for kids that are in need of emotional support and a real mom to nurture and love on them, those types of things. And so she's been working through that, and now, as of about a week ago, she's engaged now back with the school again. Massive change for our family. Totally different dynamic in our home. It's just a different time. My son, who has been working a part-time retail job for a technology company for 4 years now, he's been desiring, okay, what's next for me? I want to get into a full-time career, but I really want to be an entrepreneur. I want to be in business for myself. I want to control my time and my money and my destiny and my path. And so he's in the throes right now of searching and finding. My daughter, who is a wonderful vocalist and musician, she has been growing in her academic training, but also growing as a performer. She's very involved in theater and very involved in vocal performance. And even recently, she's launched her own vocal studio where she's now training others vocally and tutoring people in music theory. So she's in the throes of, where do I go to school to finish my bachelor's degree? And do I run my business now or do I wait till I'm done? And just all these things happening at one time. My mom, who is my only surviving parent right now, my mom is getting older and becoming a little more dependent on me to watch after her. My wife's parents, both of them have some physical struggles. One has Parkinson's disease, the other has had a stroke and a heart attack. And so even though they're semi-independent, more and more we're becoming their caretakers and watching over them. It's just a different season of life. Do you hear what I'm saying? All of this is kind of converging at one time in the Holmes household. There's been some really major changes over the summer this year with a nonprofit ministry that I've run for almost 20 years now. And some really big changes that dramatically affect income, dramatically affect how we utilize assets and properties that we own, and these types of things. So I've been dealing with that a lot. I've got team members that are precious, incredible, valued friends and team members that have been working with my companies for several years now, that have been maturing and growing themselves and have decided to launch their own business and go full-time in their own efforts, and I applaud them. In fact, I've been pushing them to do that. But it's change. I want you to hear this. It's big change. It's changes everywhere. And for me and for my wife and for our family and for our businesses, I'm just sharing with you that for whatever the reason, man, we're getting it from every angle right now. I've never lived in a particular season of my life where so much change is happening from so many angles at one time in just such a tight time frame. If I'm being very honest with you, and I am, there are many days when my tendency is to be overwhelmed. There are so many days when my tendency is to get a little bit, I won't say depressed, but stressed to the point of emotionally kind of shutting down to protect myself a little bit. There are days when the decisions, the level and the magnitude of the decisions that I have to make are just too much. It's just a lot. Now, I'm not complaining. I don't want you to hear that I'm complaining. I'm sharing this with you because I want you to understand I'm not here as we go forward with this podcast and our training programs and the things we're going to be doing with our company. I'm not here to speak down to you. I want you to know that I'm a real guy, and I'm going through life just like you are. And I've got things happening around me, and my life is not perfect, and there are times when I need help. In fact, can I just be transparent with you? I've been seeing a professional counselor because there's just times when you need somebody to help you process through things. I'm not ashamed to say that at all. I need help. You need help. So I'm sharing this with you in a way of being transparent so you know that I'm not just a coach. I'm a life participant. I'm a human being, man. I've got struggles just like everybody else does. But my desire is to come alongside of you, to serve you, to help you, and bring you content here on this website and through our podcast and through our programs that will help you. As I walk this out, I want to help you walk similar things out. That's my desire for sure. During this process, every facet of my being has been impacted. Emotionally, my spiritual life, my physical body even. And let me explain that to you. When we're under emotional duress or stress, of course it affects us emotionally. Our tendency many times is to back away from the disciplines that we know are most helpful to us, such as, if you're a believer, a Christian, spending time with the Lord, spending time in the Bible, listening to things that build you up. Many times when you're going through stressful times, what happens is you tend to emotionally eat. I don't know about you, but Honey Nut Cheerios have become my friend. and I tend to eat those really late at night. So the point is that we all have these tendencies and these struggles, but we're going to get through this. I'm sharing these things with you because there is hope, and we are pressing forward, and we're not going to allow one another to stop midstream. We're going to get to the other side. I don't want to add to your depression or to your discouragement or to your hopelessness. The whole point of me sharing my backstory with you these last few months is to actually do just the opposite. I'm not stopping in the middle of hell. If you're going through hell, they say don't stop, right? So if you're going through hell, keep walking, because at some point you're going to find an exit door, and you're going to be on the other side of the trials and the tribulations and the difficulties and the challenges, and you will come out stronger, better, and you will be at the next level of what it is God's prepared for you. I have to remind myself of a number of things often. The journey that I'm on is a lifetime quest. It is not an event. It is just, you don't just reach a point and you're done. It's every day. It's faith to faith, glory to glory. It's mountaintop, valley, mountaintop. That's how this deal works, folks. God, who is my designer, my creator, He knows more about me than I know about myself, and He has great plans for me, and He has great plans for you. I, on the other hand, have to have a willingness to trust that what I don't see, He sees. I have to trust the fact that He is walking ahead of me and working things out for me. And if I don't see right now the end game, He's already there. He's the end before He's the beginning. He's all of it in between. He's got this thing covered, but I have to walk it out trusting that He has my end in mind. I have to be okay, and you have to be okay with not having all the answers. I want you to hear me. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to be committed to the process and put one foot in front of the other, one day after the next. That's how it works, and that's what we're doing. I don't have to be perfect. What a relief. I don't have to be perfect. Man, so many people put expectations on you that you simply can't live up to, especially in certain seasons. So give yourself a break. Give yourself grace. Give yourself permission to not concern yourself with what other people need you to be or do. And you focus on you and Him and the journey ahead, and you keep plugging on. That's the story. I think most of all for me, I have to remind myself who I am. I'm a teacher. I'm a trainer. I'm a father, not just to my kids, but to many other people who need a father figure, a mentor in their life to speak into their life like a father. That's who I am. It's my strong belief that convergence happens when we are engaged. If you're moving, if there's motion, you're going to converge upon an intersection where everything begins to click. Can I tell you, that's kind of where I am right now. I said all of that to say that this summer, the last couple of months, through all of this challenge, I've landed on a spot where things are popping. The last 3 months, there's been new opportunities presented to me, things that I would have never expected. And those opportunities happen to be right in the middle of what I call my unique ability. I have more clarity and more focus about what the next 5 to 10 years looks like in my life. All of it aligned with the purpose of God for me, what He created me to do, pouring into lives, mentoring and training and loving people. I've got new relationships that are coming into my life. And by the way, new relationships are always an indication of a new season for you, a new level for you. And I'm also seeing right now new levels of influence and impact open to me. Doors are opening where I am having a say in arenas that I never expected to have a say in. It's popping, it's happening. Perseverance, persistence, determination, and a will just to say, God, I trust you, and keep moving. It pays dividends if you don't stop along the way. Why am I telling you all this today? Well, I want, going forward especially, I want our relationship to be authentic. I want you to know that I'm a normal guy, and I'm in the trenches with you, both personally and alongside of you. I want to be a person who leads by example, not just by theory. I have no time for people who have great ideas, great theories, and great answers about everything, but they've never walked through anything. I'm sharing my heart with you because I want you to know that I do life, and I want to do life with you in an honest way. My heart is to coach, to mentor, to inspire you to greatness. But while I'm doing that, I'm going to show you my real life and my real heart. I tell you what, in the last 6-8 months, I can't tell you the dozens, maybe hundreds of people that have reached out to me through phone calls, lunches, emails, whatever, that are going through not identical things I'm going through, but similar circumstances. They're in transition. There's a lot of things changing, a lot of things they're struggling through and persisting through. And I suspect that I'm speaking to a lot of people today that are struggling as well. Maybe not like struggling, but it's right now, every day you get up, you're excited about your life, but you know you've got to press through. If that's you, I want you to know that this podcast, Strategic Influencers, BrianHolmes.com, everything that I'm doing is going to be geared around coming alongside of you in a very unique and different way going forward into the fourth quarter of this year and beyond. It's my heart to do that. Your next level, my friend, is much closer than you think. It really is. Sometimes we feel like we're never going to get there. I'm telling you, you're closer than you think. Over the next few weeks, I'm going to be laying a foundation for launching into a new thing for this program. And so I want you to join me next week on the podcast and the following week. And then we're going to launch into something very, very special in October, November, December of this year. And I want you to be a part of it. Next week, I'm going to share on this topic. Are you stable or are you stagnant? It's going to shake you up. It's going to make you think. And I believe with all of my heart, it's going to help you to come alive to the possibilities and shake mediocrity off and move into, quickly and with force, everything God has for you in this season. Well, you know, I'm Brian Holmes, and I'm grateful to be in your life. And I welcome you to our training room. And I'm excited about being a part of your world going forward. God bless.